in today's program, the timing. There will be a recording for the part you might have missed out of Professor Chinedu's presentation. Thank you so much, sis. Mrs. Funmi Oni, Coach Funmi Oni, thank you so much for joining us. I also recognize that you did not hesitate as soon as I asked you to join the event. Now, I'll just read your bio and allow you to share and take the floor. So Mrs. Funmi Oni is a certified personal performance coach, and she's a therapeutic counselor using the Carl Rogers person-centered model, and she is practicing in the United Kingdom. Funmi is passionate about empowering individuals to maximize their potential by giving them tools that will help them overcome limiting beliefs. Her aim as a counselor is to empower people to be able to stand on their feet. She has been a member of the British Association of Counselors and Psychotherapists since 2009. She's an accredited coach of excellence and a member of the International Coaching Federation. Funmi will be empowering participants today with skills to help boost their self-esteem and confidence as they explore opportunities to grow their wealth and achieve financial freedom. Thank you so much, Coach Funmi, for joining us. I would make you a co-host so that you can share your slides.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me, Ma. I'm honestly grateful. And it's been a pleasure listening to Professor as well. That was quite an educative and informative session. I took some notes as well, because some of the things that she shared is similar to what I'm going to share. So I think the work has been done for me. So I'm grateful. And for everyone who are in attendance, thank you for, setting aside time to learn. They say knowledge is power, and indeed it is power. So I'm hoping that, this 1 hour that I have with you, it will be value-added time for you all. And once again, thank you so much, Ma. It's an opportunity for me, so I'm grateful. I'm going to quickly start. Thank you, Ma. So I'm going to quickly start. So guys, it's an interactive session, so I'm just going to encourage you to communicate with me. If you've got any questions as we're going along, don't wait till the end. Just pop your questions in the Q&A. And the reason why you need to be able to do that is sometimes you hear something, you've got a question, and you hear something else, you forget the question you had previously, right? So ask your questions. I'm going to also try as much as possible to keep my eye on the chat so that, it's as engaging as possible. All right, I'm going to share my screen now. Okay. Can you all see my screen? Yes, can we all see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen, yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Right, so we're going to be looking at ways through which we can boost our self-esteem. But before we talk about self-esteem, there's something quite important that we need to understand about self-esteem, and because it's an offshoot of other things that is happening within our mental state. And it's beautiful to know that in this day and age, there's a lot of talk about mental health across the spectrum, across the nations of the world. So it's not just the Western world, it's everywhere. There's a talk, the spotlight is on mental health. And that's really good to know, because 20, 30 years ago, even in the Western world, it was not an issue. People just get on with life. You just get on with things. And as a result, what we're doing is we were showing our emotions, we're suppressing our emotions, and we're not dealing with our emotions, right? So it's important that we take heed to not just our physical body, not just our spiritual health, but also our mental health, which is very important, because all three walk hand in hand. And especially if you want to have financial freedom, you want to become, free in certain areas of your life, it's important that you take care, because of what use would it be if you have financial independence and then you have a mental health breakdown, right? So it's important that we pay attention to every aspect of our lives. So today I'm going to be walking you through core beliefs, what those are, and then we'll dig into self-esteem. And I will also help you to understand some of the strengths that you may have that would help you as you are journeying along the road, and more ways to boost your self-esteem. So these are the things that you would hopefully learn at the end of the day. So if you can, grab a notepad, have your pen by your side and take notes. So this is me. I've already been introduced, so I'm not going to spend much time, but my specialty is in the area of personal performance, self-esteem, confidence building, premarital counseling, and I'm really also passionate about marriage. Okay, so if you feel confident about your dreams, thumbs up. That is great. But what if you don't feel confident? So there's been a lot of talk about excellence here, excellence there, and sometimes some of us don't even know where we're going. But I'm grateful that Prof has talked about goal setting, and that's pivotal. That's very important, right? But if you're still slightly confused, or you joined in later, you didn't start, you have another go, right? Confidence is important. If you're not confident, it might be because you doubt yourself, or you perceive yourself as being fraudulent. And there's a big talk about imposter syndrome. So that's another talk for another day. Personal incompetence. There are a lot of reasons why we don't feel confident about going after our dreams. What is core beliefs? What is core beliefs? A person's most central idea about yourself, others, and the world. What you believe in your heart of hearts about yourself. Now, oftentimes, a lot of us, we go around our day-to-day wearing a mask, of what others, or what you would like others to see. But deep down, it's not true. And sometimes you feel that you want to do something, but you can't. There are certain things that you've heard over time, messaging that you've heard over time that is affecting how you see yourself. Now, you are not born with your core beliefs. Core beliefs are learned, okay? We learn over time. We take in things from authoritative figures in our lives, such as our parents, our teachers, the adults around us, and better than even all of those things, social media. The things that we see on our Instagram feed, and all of these other platforms do tend to form the core beliefs, the things that you believe about yourself. And then that goes on to define the lens through which you begin to see your world. For example, if as a little child you were growing up and your parents were always going on about all the good things that you can do, even as a child, what happens is that you will grow up and become confident. In fact, you go up and you will not be afraid to share your opinions because you so much believe in yourself because of the positive messaging that you have heard from your parents. If they say, oh gosh, my son is such an intelligent boy, he can do this, he can do that, you're hearing that, and it builds your confidence up as a person. Now let's flip that coin. If, as a child, the messaging you've been hearing over time is negative, you can never be anything in life, you can never amount to anything, you're just big for nothing, you just have, there are just all sorts of things that you've been hearing over and over and over. What would happen to you growing up? You become a doubtful person. you will grow up to become this person that questions everything that you want to do. You will doubt your ability. Even if you have results, you can be in your, excuse me, in your academics, you can be really well, doing really well, but still doubt the results. You can be in the workplace and have accolades, you will still not be able to embrace those successes that you have. Why? It's because your core beliefs are coming from a negative point of view. I'll share with you an example. I remember years ago when my son was 5, was just 5 years old. And I went to school to pick him up and get his end of the year results. The head, not the head teacher, his form teacher said, "Oh, I don't think he's going to be really good in maths because I don't think he has a problem-solving mind. He can't solve mathematical problems." That she felt that he would be very good in arts. But I looked at this woman and I walked away thinking, wait a minute, how dare she conclude on a 5-year-old that he cannot be good in maths? How dare you take a 5? And, these things are quite subtle. If I considered her office and her role, I could have taken everything she said because, one, she's a teacher. She's taught my child for a year. So I may as well say she's an authoritative figure and she must know what she's saying. And then I can then hold my hands and sit back and help my son to develop his artistic skills. But I chose not to. I took him away and I began to help him at home and teach him. And then I think we enrolled him in a class. Guess what? He left school and maths was his best subject leaving school. And not only was his best, he was the best math student he had in his year group. So core beliefs are the things. I wouldn't let that sit with my son basic because I have that understanding. But what if you didn't? We take it on and it becomes a robe that we wear. And then we begin to act out the things that we have heard over time. Now, this is a very good example, and I want you guys to have a look at this. There are 2 people here who received a test result, and I want to demonstrate how core beliefs can affect how you see life. 2 people received the test results. Now, meet Alice. This is Alice, and her core belief says that she believes she's perfectly capable, right? She's perfectly capable when she gives in her best results. So she believes that she's good. She believes she can deliver. But guess what? She received the result, and the result wasn't good. She failed, actually, even though she believed. Because life happens. And I'm going to talk about that later on. Life happens. But this is her response to the test result. This is the thought she had. I did poorly because I didn't prepare. And that's true. She knew she's good, capable, but she did not do the right thing at the right time. She didn't prepare. And she felt disappointed that her results were not as good as they can be. And what was her behavior? She then decided, right, the next time I'm going to write a test, I'm going to make sure that I study hard and do the needful. And this is the mindset I believe we should all have in any circumstance or situations in life. When things don't go the way we want to go, where and how do we respond? Now, I'd like you to meet Ben. This is Ben. Ben's core belief is, I'm a failure. And it's possible that he believes that because of the things that he has heard over time. At home, in school, even in social gatherings. There's a way the things that we hear show up, right? But his thought is because he already internalized failure, he already believed he was a failure. He said, of course I fail, and why bother? And his feelings are what? Depression. He felt depressed, and he decided not to make any changes. Can you see how two different people have the same result, but responded in two different ways based on their core beliefs? So as you're listening to me, I want you to, examine yourself. Just do a mini self-assessment and think, where are my core beliefs coming from? What do I believe about myself? If your core belief is flawed, because it's a learned behavior, then don't worry, it can be corrected, right? It can be changed. But understand, where is it coming from? As a student or as an adult, whatever stage of life that you're in, if your core belief is negative, then it can be changed. If it's positive, then just keep working and improve yourself, because there's always room for improvement. No matter where you are in a stage of life, there's always room for improvement. Now, here are some of the downsides to a negative core belief. Helpless. If your core belief is that of helplessness, these are some of the messaging that you would tell yourself that goes on in your mind. One, you're weak. You can't say you're a loser. You're trapped. And these are some of the feelings, the emotions that you feel as well. Unlovable. And this is quite common. If your core belief is that you are unlovable as a person, you would believe that you're unlovable, and you might say to yourself that you would end up alone. And how disheartening can this be? And this is so true. And a lot of people, unfortunately, do end up, they end their lives because they believe that they're unlovable. You can't feel unloved even if you're in a room with a group of people, or you can't feel lonely in a crowded space. So these are important for us to know. No one likes me. How many of you believe that no one likes you? If you do believe that no one likes you, then it will be very difficult for you to form meaningful relationships, because you would always question why people would want to, love you, because you don't believe that you're lovable. So anybody that approaches you or that, say things, you would question where that is coming from. I can see that some of you are raising your hands. Can you put your question or comment in the chat box? So it's very real. These are real feelings, that we're having. Okay. Worthless is another one. Worthless, feeling that you are worthless. This is so deep. You feel you're bad. You feel you don't deserve to live. And that is coming from the things that you've heard over time, that you see yourself, that you are worthless and you do not deserve to live. These are negative messaging. And lastly, external danger. Now, the world is a dangerous place. People can't be trusted. Nothing ever goes right. But is that true, though? Is it true that nothing ever goes right? Things do sometimes go well, but because we are wearing the lens, remember, that you're worthless, then the only thing you see are negative things, and your brain fails to recognize and identify those things that are going well. I need love and approval from those significant to me. Self-limiting core beliefs. do you really need somebody to approve? Because oftentimes when your core beliefs are negative, you constantly would want approval. You constantly want someone to, give you the tick. Worthless. To be worthwhile or worthy, I must achieve and succeed at whatever I do. Now, your success in life does not define you. It is not your sense of identity. Your identity does not come from what you achieve. They are two different things. Because sometimes success can, be taken. Life happens. So does that mean your world then comes crashing down? No. It just means that you can start again. The confidence that you have within you, and we will talk about that a bit more, is a place from your self-worth. It's from the things that you can create, your creative ability, not from the physical things that we see. Am I asking us not to succeed? No. I'm just saying that beautiful, we succeed, beautiful, we do things, but also we must know that whatever we have in life does not define who we are. My unhappiness is outside of my control. That means that you constantly blame other people for everything that happens to you. You're not taking responsibility. Why? Because your core beliefs are negative. Your happiness is not dependent on anybody else except you. Then people should always do the right thing and should be blamed or punished when they are not. That is not true, because everyone can make mistakes. There is no single perfect person out there. I don't know if you know anyone. I don't. There's no perfect person out there, right? Here are some of the consequences of core beliefs. And I broke them into two. One, your interpersonal problems, which we're going to be looking at. Difficulty in trusting other people, excessive jealousy, overly confrontational, putting others' need. Now, putting others' need above one's own need. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. Why? Because there's something about humility. You think, oh, I'm just, you have some goals that you've set for the day. There are certain things that you need to achieve during the day, but you are now, because of how you feel about yourself, other things now become more important than the things that you have set. Now, certain things would happen that you may have to rejuggle, but not all the time. You must love others, but not more than yourself. So I'm saying, love yourself and then others. Because if you sweep it, then there's a bit of hypocrisy. You can't love somebody else more than yourself. You're doing yourself a disservice. So it's important that you do things in order. Difficulty in trusting others. If you are married, your spouse, you're always suspicious of your spouse. As a student, you're thinking the teacher doesn't like me, and that's why they give me these grades. You're confrontational as a person, overly aggressive, always thinking that people are looking to hurt or harm you, so you have to defend yourself. You're very, very defensive. So if some of these things define you, then you need to check, what are my core beliefs? Where are these coming from? And mental health problems, a lot. Depression, anxiety, substance abuse, difficulty in handling stress, and low self-esteem is the one I'm going to really zone in on today. For all of these things, depression is an offshoot of how you feel about yourself. In some cases, not all cases. Some depression has a result of mental chemical imbalance in the brain, which cannot be solved by, speaking therapy. You would possibly need interventions using a medical prescription to intervene in that area. But some, if not all, depression starts from certain things that happen in the history of that person. Then substance abuse. A lot of people turn to substance for a momentary relief. You want to feel relieved in that moment. It will work in that moment, but over time, it compounds the issue. And unfortunately, in uni, especially in this side that I know, I work with, I don't know how many students this year, quite a substantial number of students. And it's for them getting into uni, the first year, they feel, right, I'm free, I can do whatever I want, and I want to party, I want to do this. I'm not saying you shouldn't be social, I'm not saying you shouldn't interact, but be mindful of what you do, because it's just so easy to start doing, forming bad habits. It doesn't just start straight away. It's just a little here, have a puff here, have a puff there. Before you know it, you're deep down. You become reliant and dependent on drugs because it's so easily accessible. To be mindful and be careful of the setting. You've come into uni, or because you have your eyes set on something, success. Be mindful of what you do, because oftentimes what happens once you form that habit is really hard to break. It's not impossible. It's hard to break, and that's where your finances will start going the moment you start a job. I work with a lot of young men who started using drugs through uni, and now it's become a habit, and it's very difficult to break. So be careful. Negative core beliefs are invisible forces that prevent you from taking action. Those beliefs are there. Why we say it's invisible? Because it's in your mind. Messages that we hear, they are stored in our mind. And because oftentimes you don't know, you respond and react in ways because of what you have believed over a period of time. It can actually prevent you from taking action. Self-esteem. Your confidence in your worth or value, that is your self-esteem. How many of us are confident? If you feel confident in yourself, confident in your worth, confident in your value, that means you have a healthy self-esteem. You're not dependent on friends, on family, or job, or results to make you feel good. You wake up in the morning and you're good to go. You wake up in the morning and you can remember the things that you set as goals for the day, and you are ready to run. And when it comes to finances, you are able to use your finances in ways that will benefit not just you, but other people around your world. So it's important that we work on our self-esteem. It's important that we know where that's coming from. Some of these things, somebody might say nobody appreciates me, and I think we've talked about that. If you believe nobody appreciates you, then you may know that nobody appreciates you, and you would walk that way. Education is important. If you feel you're not good enough, then you may not push yourself. And I think this is a good place for me to just, share a story. I, over a very long period of time, felt I could not write an exam and pass. Over a long period of time, I felt I couldn't write an exam and pass, and based on something that happened. But it got to a space in my life that I knew I had to face that fear. I had to face that fear. Why? For myself. And also, I think it was a teachable moment as well. So I did. I wrote these exams. The first time I passed. The second level, I failed. But then again, I pushed on and went on and did the professional level and eventually passed. And I'm very grateful that I didn't stop there. But what kept me from writing that exam initially was because I believed that I was not good enough. No matter what anybody says, it's down to you, what you believe about yourself. And you are wonderfully and fearfully made. Everyone is made differently. Now, Prof talked about different learning styles, and that is so true. You need to understand what your learning style is. In the past, learning had been done linearly, but now there's been a lot of restructuring in the education system. Know yourself. Are you an auditory learner? Are you that type of person who learns by listening? Then get yourself some, tapes, listen to podcasts. They're just different mediums through which you can learn. If you are a visual learner, then there's a lot of videos out there that you can actually sit down and watch and take in information. Don't wait to be spoon-fed. Find out about what's my best way of learning? How do I take in information best? And adapt whatever environment that you have to those things and learn. Some people are kinetic learning. That means that they learn by doing. It doesn't mean that they are not going to be good medical students or they're not going to be good, but they would want to learn and do as they go along. And that's absolutely okay. We can't put everyone in the box, and you mustn't put yourself in a box. Find a way that works for you and get the resources that can help you. Because the moment you find out how best you can learn and you start learning, you are boosting your self-confidence. You are improving yourself the moment you do. So I'm encouraging you to do that. And here in the Western world, it's just the same thing. So find a way that would help you. And volunteering, somebody asked that question about volunteering. I got into what I'm doing today by volunteering, right? I graduated as an economics student in 2002, and I didn't do well. And I'll explain that to you shortly. I didn't do well. But then I had an opportunity to volunteer, and this is in Nigeria. And that started me on this journey today. It meant I had to go back to school. I had to go back and spend 3 years in school to become qualified as a counselor. It meant I had to go back again to study for another 1 year to get my coaching qualification. But because I volunteered, a light bulb moment was what I experienced. It suddenly dawned on me that the economics that I studied wasn't me, but actually using my life experience and the skills that I got from volunteering was actually what God would have me do now. But I didn't say, oh, God has taught, now I volunteered, I can work with people. I realized I needed to get a skill set to be able to work effectively in this field. So I went back to school and got myself skilled up. Somebody said, how can I monetize my skill? That is one way. Before you monetize, find what is really good for you. And if you have to volunteer to gain the confidence, go ahead and do it. Individuals who have low self-esteem tend to amplify their inabilities when speaking to themselves. And in turn, they often believe the world sees and judges them through the same negative lens. How true is that? How true is that? Oftentimes, we tend to want to rub the negative things that we're feeling about ourselves on the other people. Meanwhile, just take a look inside. You would know that you're the one, who has the issues that needs to be resolved. And oftentimes when we don't resolve our internal issues, do you know what happens? We're suppressing all our emotions, and all we need is a little trigger, and there's a massive outburst. And then the people around you begin to wonder, what did we say? What did we do? Why is this person responding or reacting this way? It's because you haven't dealt with your insecurities and the issues that you have in a correct way. And there just needs to be an outlet somehow. So root causes of low self-esteem, there are quite a lot. I'm just going to highlight a few. There are a lot. Childhood trauma is one of the major ones. Childhood trauma. Bullying. Some of us have experienced bullying as a child. And back in the day, there was no label, or there was, but people didn't really, take much note of it. But today, there's a bit of a spotlight on bullying. If you have been bullied as a child, it can affect you as an adult. Or if you have a child who comes home and tells you, or somebody said this to me, so don't just say, oh, don't worry. Just ignore them. Don't know. What you're actually doing to that child is you're shutting that child up. If a child comes and tells you they're being bullied, or if you know someone who is being bullied, please take action. That child is bold enough to tell you that, hello, I need help. I've had to go to my son's school a number of times. I don't shy away from my responsibility as a parent, and I don't think any parent should. We shouldn't shy away from our responsibilities. Yes, sometimes, but not intentionally so. Not intentionally so. Parents do cause some childhood trauma, but not intentionally. Some, they don't care. But what I've come to understand is a lot of parents don't. And that's why it's important that parents also are exposed to some of these teachings, so they know that their actions actually traumatizing their children. And there's a lot of different things, but because of time, I'm not going to go into that. Sometimes it's just not. You can't give what you don't have. And sometimes the way our parents were parented. Now, I cannot remember growing up a time when my dad gave me a hug. Does that mean he didn't love me? No, it's just not what they did. It's not what he got from his parents, and he didn't know that it's needed, right? Emotions, they're not emotionally, they don't communicate their emotions. So I don't want to say they're not emotionally in tune, but they just don't know how to. And then in this day and age, you go to school, sometimes you see somebody giving, oh, I love you, mommy, I love you, daddy. And you are there and you're thinking, what? Somebody said also that the first time his dad actually physically touched him was when he graduated from uni and he did well. And the dad touched his head saying, congratulations, my son, you've done well. That's the only recollection that he had of his dad actually touching him. But as parents, please, and while you're also listening, when you become parents, inculcate this habit of demonstrating love so that your children don't go out there looking for the emotions that they didn't get from home, the connectivity that they didn't get from home. Abuse is another one on the table, and there are different types of abuse. There are different types of abuse: physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse. Traumatizes children. It does traumatize children. Relocation. Relocation, you're moving in search for a better life. Your parents are moving from one city to the other. Some people, it might be their jobs demand that they move from one place to the other. If that is the case, then parents need to communicate. Don't just say, oh, tomorrow we are traveling, we are going to Enugu. today we are going to this state, or we are moving to, without letting the children understand how it is and why they need to travel, you know. And if you are a student there and you've experienced that, one of the downsides to relocation, it traumatizes one. You're not having friends. It stops you from developing childhood friends. I don't really have a long-standing childhood friend. Why? Because my parents had to move over a period of time, you know. And so when, for example, my husband is talking to me or sharing about a friend that they went to primary school, I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't have that. And it kind of traumatizes you because you don't have roots. You don't have a sense of belonging. In fact, what I tell some of my clients who have come from that similar background, I tell them we are floaters, because that's the way I feel. I don't feel I'm Nigerian. I don't feel I'm British, because I don't have that deep sense of belonging. And it can be traumatizing sometimes. You know, so one of the things I can encourage, if your parents are having to move, ask them. And that helps. It helps to make it, you know, the landing a bit softer. Divorce is another one. Unfortunately, in our day and age, it's just rampant. It's like, you know, you go to a buffet and all they are serving is divorce, left, right, and center. The children from, and I'm not saying if anyone is in a difficult relationship, you need to stay there. But sometimes it's not all difficult situations that must end in separation and divorce with the right intervention, of course. Right? If your parents are not together, then that can affect the way you see life. If you don't have anyone around you who have, you know, who are role models, they have good homes, then the question you may ask yourself is, what's the whole point of this marriage? If the only thing is it's going to end in hurt, pain, you know, you might just want to stay away from it. So that's a major issue as well. Divorce. It can traumatize a child. And the next one, I think, will be illness. Oh, failure. Failure. Failure is another big one. Failure can make one develop low self-esteem. If you have a history of long-term failure, it can make you feel, what's the point? Or business, you started a business and you failed. I don't think there's any successful businessman out there who has not had a history of failure. Okay, so I want you to begin from today, not rather than you seeing failure as a destination, see it as a journey. It's an event in life where you have to look back and learn from, what did I do wrong? What could I do better? What can I do differently? Failure is an event in life. Failure is part of life. So if you did fail at anything, don't stop there. Now, I was ill in my first year in uni, and unfortunately, I possibly had developed amnesia or something, not medically diagnosed. But what's happened was every year I failed. When I'm about to write exams, my mind would just go blank. So my first semester, it was when it happened, I was seriously ill. Then my second semester exam, the moment I wanted to write my exam, my mind just went blank. Third year, my lecturers, strangely enough, there's no place that I get to, people would recognize and know me. So my head of department called me and said, I don't understand how you got these results. Can you imagine? And in economics department, we have lots of students in economics department. He said, I don't understand, but I can't begin to tell him that it's like I'm giving excuses. You know, that's why years down the line, I dealt with that issue and faced failure, and I did a professional exam and eventually passed. Business is the same thing. So if you're a student and you want to, understand finances, and you don't understand how to, I'm sure in this workshop, you've learned a lot and you will still continue to learn. But if things happen in life for you, don't quit. And I think that's my encouragement to you. Don't stop because you have an event of failure. It is never, ever a destination until you make it so. Until you decide that it's a destination for you. So personal goals, you set your goals the night before, you woke up and, by the time the day comes to an end, you're taking inventory and you realize that certain things you said you didn't do. Does that mean that your goals were set in, No, it means you set your goals. If you didn't set your goals, you wouldn't have done certain things. It's just that you didn't complete it. Go back again and set it again the next day. Just keep going, keep going. Exams, the same thing. I've talked about exams. What if you're always succeeding and you? Now, thank you for that one. Now, listen. Oftentimes, our parents will say you have to get to the top Ivy League school. Beautiful, but remember what Prof said. Prof said we need to understand what the capacity of our children and put them in certain schools that are good for them. If you set yourself for a failure, and so if you set yourself up and you're afraid to fail, don't worry, just keep going. Don't keep going, keep going. It may happen, it may not, but keep going. Face that fear. Face that fear. Illness can be long-term illness, can make you have low self-esteem. And I'm aware times going, long-term illness can make you, develop low self-esteem. And that is so true. Why? Because sometimes as an adult, you might begin to question your abilities to do things. If you've been ill for a long period of time and you went back to the same workplace, they may not use the system that you were using before. You have to relearn. And that is change. Realize change happens all the time. Somebody said the only constant thing in life is change. So that is the only constant thing. Learn to embrace change and do not let it define you. Inabilities to internalize success, which is synonymous to low self-esteem. So we've talked about success as well. So that's a quote that I think you can take away with you. All right, how can we now boost self-esteem? I hope we are all taking something. I hope we are learning something as we're going along. I hope you are taking a nugget away with you as we're going along. Yes, it's very important. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
the
you.
chat box is very active, Coach Funmi. I hope you don't have too many more slides because there are so many questions for you. Okay.
Okay, no, I'm finishing. I'm rounding up now.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Yes, I thank you. All right. So stop blaming yourself. Stop criticizing yourself. Write this down. SPA. Self-awareness, plan, action, and reward. This is a very easy way to boost your self-esteem. Understand where your challenges are. Okay. Understand where you are struggling. And then plan. When I say plan, take a notepad and write what you feel can help you move from where you are to where you want to be. Now, there's no point planning if you don't have an action point. So if you don't take action, there is no point planning if you don't take action. Then reward. If you've taken action, find a way to reward yourself. Self-awareness, plan, take action, and then reward yourself. Understand your strengths. Know what your strengths are. And here is my tip for you. You are not alone. Don't keep yourself feeling, don't keep your feelings to yourself. You are not alone. If you feel that you're not good enough, there might be hundreds and thousands of people out there who feel the same thing. The difference between you and them is that you will not go into suffering in silence. You're going to reach out for help. Okay, so I will not play the video because of time. For activity 2, if you can, describe an instance where your strength helped you in a relationship. Something you feel you have done before that has helped you, either in your academics or your personal life, one thing that you feel you've done, because there is everybody has a sense of strength. Everybody has a sense of strength. Right? Do it in the chat, or you can do it in your notepad. What good thing do you know about yourself? If it's talking, talking can be good and bad. If it's being disciplined, it's a strength. If it's being kind, it's a strength. Showing compassion is a strength. Whatever it is that you have used before to help somebody, that's an area of strength that you can find a way to build on and even monetize. All right, I think I am done. Thank you, everyone. Ben Howard here says that always walk through life as if you have something new to learn, and you will. So I'm hoping that today you have learned something new. Snapback is the book I wrote. You can grab yourself a copy. But now it's time for Q&A. Thank you.
Wow. Coach Funmi, thank you so very much. I always do the clapping from this end, and the people around the call will do the clapping online. Please put the emoji there and show some love to Coach Funmi this evening. Join me to thank her so much. And thank you everyone for being it's been a very interactive session. Coach Funmi, thank you so much. Thank you for not hesitating to join this. You didn't spend any second to think about it. Thank you so much. Thank you also for sharing from your personal experiences. You shared 2 personal stories that brought out the points you were trying to make very well. And honestly, I don't know what I would say is the best part of the teaching this evening, because every element is very valuable. I think you can stop sharing. Unless please stop sharing. I want to spotlight. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. There are so many questions, but I'm going to take a comment, and I can see we already gave John Alabi class captain. We already made him a coach because he's been very vocal, online, the conversations and all this since the program started. I see that he pinged or he put a comment there already. He said, failure is not a destination until you make it one. Thank you so much for that. I like that. And I'll just give some examples to encourage people around the call before I start giving you the questions. Most of us, I like the comedy skits by Mr. Macaroni. You're in England, I don't know if you know him, but some of the young people around the call will know Mr. Macaroni. He's a comedian online. And I remember saying to my husband that he said he went to about 5 or 6 universities before he made it. But he's very, very vocal now in terms of leading the youths to want to make a change in Nigeria. So he's very popular online. So looking at not stopping when you have difficulties, he's a typical example. I also remember a gentleman that my husband and I mentored sometimes ago in the teens church, and who said he did English examination, the WAEC English, about 5 times, Coach Funmi, and but he didn't give up. Today, by the time he finished from the University of Benin, he made a first class. Today, he's a top engineer with a very reputable firm in Nigeria. So those are 2 stories that come to my mind to just buttress your point about not giving up. Failure is not the end for anyone. Thank you so much. Now with the confidence and self-esteem, confidence boosting techniques you've taught us this evening, I'm sure most of the people, all of the people around the call will be able to pitch businesses they need to pitch to any investor with their heads held high. And there's so many things yourself and Prof have taught us this evening that would equip the people around the call to be, more competitive and more successful. So a gentleman asked a question that I want to start with the simple ones. And he says, how can he become a coach like you?
Thank you very much. So it's starting with that desire that you have. So you ask yourself the why. Why would I want to become a coach? Okay, there's always, for everything we do across the spectrum, there's a problem that we see that we want to solve. Like Ma, you understand that there's a problem with the financial world and people with finances. So you've seen that problem, you want to solve that problem. That's why you are doing what you do. And thank you so much for the platform. So it's asking yourself, why? What problem do I want to solve? And once you've identified that, find a coaching institution locally to you or internationally. There are lots of different coaching institutions where you can go to, but define your why first. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Somebody says, as someone interested, okay, no, so that's a question you've answered. How do I get certified as a performance coach? Okay. John Alabi says, how do you push past the limits of how much people expect you to earn as a Black person on the international scene? I don't know if that question is so relevant to this conversation. Daida Okwa says, my question is, if we are around people that don't support our dream, he says, if we are around people that do not support our dreams, I think he's using two sentences. Okay, if I am around people who do not support my dreams, what should I do?
That's all you need. Don't stop dreaming. Because oftentimes the people that you think may help are not the people that would help you, right? So don't stop dreaming. Start from where you are. What is it that you want to do? Where are you? Where do you see yourself? And start with baby steps. If you're looking for people to applaud or push, then you might be staying there for forever. And that is the truth, right? Start with where you are. When I started volunteering, I didn't have the guts to tell my parents that I was volunteering. They thought I got a job. It was the pocket money that my dad gave me that I used to get transport. So I would transport myself with my pocket money. And I did it for about 8 months. Actually, it was a 5th month that the CEO said to the staff that they should give me something that would cover my transport. So I did it for 4 months in Lagos. So sometimes if you really believe in your dream, you have a desire, just keep pushing yourself. And before you know it, helpers of destiny will come around and support you.
Thank you so much, Coach. There's one thing that I keep hearing: don't give up, keep pushing. There's a very long question, but it's very important, and I'm sure you'll be happy to take it. So Blessed Etuk says, excuse me, as a person, I find it difficult to express myself when I'm not in my right frame of mind. This is because of the issue I had with my dad while growing up. A report got to him from my then form teacher. It was false. He believed her and said hurtful stuff. Over time, I am trying to come out of this shell, and it is so difficult. How do I go about this, please?
Thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing that with us today. I think the first thing you need to do is to forgive your dad and all the people involved. Now you're forgiving them, not for them, but for yourself. There is power in forgiveness because you let it go. Now they are going around everything they're doing, totally unaware of what you are carrying. So the first thing I feel you need to do is forgive them and forgive yourself and let go. And healing would come. And if you do need support, I'm happy to help. Okay. Speak with Coach Mama Komolafe now. And she would help. But the first thing you do honestly need to do is to forgive.
Okay. Blessed Etuk would please do send me a mail or follow Coach Funmi online. But if you connect with me and you need some professional airtime, so to say, just like Prof. Sochinedu, I'm sure that we can always get you some finance coach BK discounts. And then it depends on how many sessions or whatever you need. If you don't even need so many sessions, I'm sure if it's something she can do for free, she will do it for free. Because I understand what you're talking about, and you need to get past it and get the healing you need. Now, this is not from someone who is named, but he or she says, how do I break the habit of talking down on myself or comparing myself to others, especially my peers?
And we do that a lot, don't we? Comparison. And oftentimes it's from our parents as well, and not intentionally so, you know. Identifying your strength, identifying one thing that you do well. You can do a personal assessment. You can ask friends and family, what is it that you do that you know how to do well, and build on that. So that's a step forward, and it can help you stop comparing yourself with other people. But we do seeking validation. But yes, find one good thing. I'll send you a value form. You can share it with people. Okay. It would help you understand what your own values are as a person.
Okay, thank you for that. We'll share that with people. Just trying to make sure that I put the best questions forward. So somebody says, I have dreams of going back to school and also building my art skills, but I'm finding it difficult to. Please, how can I go about this?
It depends. What's making it difficult? There are a lot of different things that can make it difficult, not impossible. So I'm glad you said difficult. So that means you know that you can. But what is it that's stopping you? Is it funds? Is it age? Are you married? Is it childcare? So there can be a lot of different things, different factors that can make it difficult. So you need to understand what you're facing, and then create some little baby steps. There are online courses that are out there that you can do. There are short courses, certifications. So it's not always a 3-year university degree program that you need to go to. There are different routes to where you want to go to these days. So it depends on what it is that you're facing. So I'm sorry if I'm not able to answer, but there's a lot of reasons that can make it difficult. And it's based on that you will need guidance.
Yes, and if you ask a question, if we took your question and you still you're not satisfied, please send an email and we will connect with the coach. If it's something that requires further help and you need professional counseling, then would help you arrange that. This last one before I go to the panelists to ask if they have any question. Sheyi Aderibibe says, what if you keep on failing and people mock you? Do you think you can still be able to succeed?
So we talk about core beliefs. Core beliefs are based on internalized negative messages, or the negative one that you're hearing, right? So the first step would be you understand who you are as a person. Now, we do not have control over what people say or do, but we can decide and control how we choose to respond to them. Okay, so if people are mocking you, those same people who are, just look at the football. I don't know if there's any Man U fan out there. So if you're a Manchester United fan, you see how they've been crucifying the coach who just took over. But the last match he won, and the same media that were crucifying him are now praising him.
They're not celebrating him.
They are now celebrating him. So we can't live our lives based on public opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Coach. Professor Chinedu, if you're still there, do you have any question or comment for Coach Funmi? Dr. Kalu, thank you so much. I saw that you joined us from the first module today. Thank you so much. We are yet to get over the baptism from you yesterday. Even people that didn't attend, they have been regretting. Do you have any question or comment for Coach Funmi? Pastor Nee, do you have any question or comment?
No question apart from just to find denial, and that you fail once does not mean you are a failure. Just let us continue to fail forward every time. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Pastor. That is it, really. Fail forward. And I think it never really sank the way Coach Funmi said it today. That failure is not a destination until you make it one. I always knew that, failure shouldn't be the end, but the way she put it, until you say it's the final point, then you accept it. Right? And so it's very, it has come to stay. Dr. Kalu, please, do you have something to say?
Thank you very much, Auntie Funmi. I really enjoyed the session. Even my daughter too. She listened to the session throughout the time.
Oh,
she's 8 years old and she's enjoying the session too.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Both of you are speakers from the Queen's base, from the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Ma.
Yes, thank you. Professor Chinedu, do you have a comment? Okay, thank you so much, Coach. I'm so grateful for your time, the selflessness with which you accepted to, join us to mentor the young ones. And for the people around the call, we're going to be giving us some copies of our book. The book is called Snap Back. I think it also has baby steps somewhere on the cover page. Snap Back, how to build a resilient lifestyle, self-esteem, self-confidence, self-care that you can be proud of. Please follow her online. I think I should type it. Coach Funmi, can you help me type your Instagram handle?
Yes, I
to
will.
Everyone, not to the panelists, to everyone. It's one Oyibo word that I can't pronounce very well. I don't want to embarrass myself here.
It's Gaudium.
Gaudium, that's how to pronounce it. Okay.
Yes,
Gaudium.
It's Latin for joy.
Oh, Latin for joy. And thank you everybody that has joined us. I can see many of our friends. We have our dear friend from Zambia. I don't have the name right now, but I know somebody joined us from Zambia. All our beautiful friends that joined us from Lagos. The group of people watching us from Pastor Mrs. Lola Delore's house. I know she has a cluster of about 4 or 5 people in her house joining this program this evening. Thank you all for joining. I thank everyone, and I'm sure that you're very grateful for the time that you have spent here this evening. Have you put a coach? Have you put a?
Yes, I have.
You have, okay.
Yes.
Hey, Tutu, thank you for joining us from New Jersey. Your hand is up. Do you want to say something? Tutu, do you want to say something? I can unmute you if you want to say something. I see your hand is up. Okay, she's put her hand down. Pastor Tolu, Pastor and Mrs. Tolu from Ibadan, thank you for joining us. I know that you're online. Thank you, everybody, our friends in Metro Gardens. Thank you, Chris Agbo. I can't call everybody's name, but everybody, the whole 118 people around the call this evening, I'm happy for you that you joined, that you listened to Prof and Coach Funmi this evening. Dolapo, Dr. Toy from Manchester, thank you for joining us. Precious Agere. Oh, so many names. Elizabeth Adeyemo, all of you are appreciated. Thank you very much. Have a good evening, everybody. Tomorrow we would have the final module at 4 p.m. Dr. Charity will be teaching us about credits and borrowing and how to leverage on that for financial success. I'm sure if you have to pitch a business proposal to anybody after today, you know that you can be confident and you can do anything. Akinola Kola, thank you for joining us from the United States. Prosper Voakporie, I believe you're joining with your mom from Ibadan. Thank you, everybody. Oh, they said they can't see the Instagram handle. Did you send it to the
I'll send it to everyone. I'll send it again.
Oh, Yeah, please do. But if you look at the advert on Finance Coach page, you will see all the speakers' profiles and how to reach them. And then, yes, you're going to get her book. How do we get her book? YT Taylor. Okay, we're going to give out some, but some can also be because we promise to give the top 20 people who come out tops in our competition some books. But I know that we have friends around the call. Yes, they followed you already. We have friends around the call who would help us subsidize the cost of some books. So we will be giving out copies of our books. Yes, thank you, Mommy. Thank you, Pastor Deniji. It's like I don't want to close this evening. Coach Funmi, is it because you're going to send us some pound sterlings, you and Dr. Kalu and Professor Chinedu send us some dollars. Thank you so much, everybody. And Coach, God bless you. God increase you. And this is just the beginning. You're going to speak to platforms where they will pay you in dollars. It will be free like this.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm truly grateful. And thank you, everyone who have stayed up till now. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And all the speakers as well.
Yes, see you at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Don't miss it. Dr. Charity is very well known for the way she delivers her tutorials. She's an expert, certified financial education instructor. She's based in the United States, and you will not regret the 1 hour you will spend with her. Thank you, my co-panelists. God bless you all. Thank you very much, Pastor Niyi, for pushing and pushing and pushing. Admiral Komalafe, thank you for allowing us to do this. Thank you so much.